Welcome to the Tipsy Guest Podcast. I am your host, Marco Buenrostro, and every week I'm here with the top industry experts, amazing clients, and all my vendor BFFs to bring you the best tips, advice, and juicy behind-the-scenes stories to make wedding and event planning a breeze. So grab your favorite drink and let's get this party started! Hello. Welcome back to the Tipsy Guest. I am Marco, your host. And today we are going to be talking about video, photos, and amazingness. We have a pro of the pros, Sonia from Aria Productions. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes. Or you could say Aria.
Aria. I love Aria. Sonia, welcome. I am so happy to have you here. I know we've been chatting about this for a while. And I'm so glad that you finally, decided to say yes to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I am excited to talk to you.
I know. It's so crazy. How long have we known each other? Has it been like 8-9 years?
It has to be. It has to be.
I've been in business for about 11 years. I think I've been a member of Aria for probably about 8 or 9 years.
Right. No, actually, I think longer.
Yeah.
You're one of our, not oldest, but, longest running members.
I've been there for a while. So,
yeah. All
right. For our listeners out there, Aria is an events organization and Sonia's super, super involved. She is incredible at it. I mean, she is a social butterfly. She knows. She means business.
But I certainly didn't start that way. But I think that Aria and other organizations have really helped me to kind of come out of my shell a little bit and just get to know people and, get to meet people like you has been so awesome.
Which is the purpose of organizations like that, right? To network with other vendors, other professionals.
Yeah.
And then, of course, at some point help each other and, just make the events industry amazing.
Yes.
All right. So let's jump into your company. So how long have you been doing this?
So I started Aria Productions 13 years ago.
Okay.
And I know that because my son is 13.
Oh, wow. Perfect timing. You will always remember how long you've been in business.
Yes. And it started like many mompreneurs. I was working in corporate. I was doing video production for corporate. And I just needed the flexibility to be able to be home with my son and, just wanted more autonomy over my time. And so that's why I just basically created my job. So I started with, just doing portraits and started doing weddings. I kind of dipped my toe into weddings by assisting other photographers and just kind of getting a feel for it. I did seek out education and I started my business and I haven't really looked back. I did go back into corporate, just briefly. But at that point, my business was just taking off. And so I had to kind of decide okay, what are we going to do here? And, I've been on my own for about 8 years.
Isn't that the most amazing feeling? Just being your own boss and your own schedule and your own time, even though sometimes it can be a little tough, because we're working 24. I mean, it's always funny to see when they're I always see it on TikTok or Instagram where I had a corporate job, but then I wanted to be my own boss to work less. But it's no, it's the opposite.
No. And what I kind of feel is my business ended up becoming my second child. And then I have a third child and now I have a golden doodle. So I have a fourth child.
Oh my gosh.
But when you love it, when you're passionate about it, those long hours, they really are worth it,
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because, I see you work so hard. I mean, I see you everywhere. Everywhere I look and, I see you at corporate events. I see you at weddings. I see you at industry events. I see you everywhere. And that, says a lot of the type of business owner that you are. I mean, it looks like you care, you love what you do. And your work is so good. I mean, you are such a professional. It's always so good to chat with you because I feel like, I know I always say this, but, that's why the people that I invite to the podcast, it's because it's people that I look up to, they whatever they do, it's just so incredible. So I feel like every time I chat with you, I learn something new.
Yes. Well, and I feel like we put so much into our work. Like, you have to love it. You just have to be passionate. And it has to be something where it's like, you couldn't survive. You couldn't do anything else because you have to be doing this. And that's how I feel about storytelling. That's how I feel about photography. Video production is, one of my first loves. And I just really love what I do. And, yes, I do kind of go through different industries. I do wedding storytelling, but I also do corporate and branding. And that just comes from my background, working in corporate video production. And, I really also I love helping other business owners tell their story.
I love that.
Because, I see that more and more, working in ILEA, I'm also pretty involved in National Association of Women Business Owners, NABO.
Wow.
And I just love, hearing the backstory of how people create their businesses and, how it comes to fruition. Because a lot of the times when we go to these big, beautiful events, all we see is the finished product. But I see what happens on the back end, behind the drape. I see the people that are working hard to make that beautiful plate. One of the things that I love to see is the caterers. They're just like a military organization.
They are
putting everything together. And so I love to film that part of the story too. So
it's so incredible, nowadays, I mean, things change, times change. And for example, like videography is always, a very important part of any event.
Yeah.
Specifically, weddings, because I mean, most of the time, it's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, no, seriously. But I feel like, like the storytelling, like you said, I feel like every videographer, it's different. But the way you're describing, that you describe it as storytelling,
yes.
I think, walk me through the process, I guess, of, let's say the day of a wedding. Like, I mean, because like you said, I get to see the final product, but you're the one that, like, what time do you normally start? Like, what are the main points that you you have to capture? Is that something that you discuss with your couples prior, or like, how does that work?
And I discuss it with them when we're booking. I'm asking them, okay, so I'm walking them through the day. I'm going to be arriving at this time, at this point, when are you going to be in hair and makeup? When are you going to be stepping into your dress? All of those things. And sometimes I do need to guide them through that. I just talked with the bride yesterday. We did her bridal portrait and she didn't realize how long it was going to take her to get dressed for the bridal portrait. And I'm so glad she experienced that because it took much longer than she anticipated. But we have those conversations. And then I like to arrive at least 30 minutes earlier than I say that I'm going to arrive because I'm just kind of getting a feel for the day, kind of, sinking into the venue. Most of the time I have shot at the venue where I'm at. But, I just kind of want to look at the light, feel the vibe, what's going on. And then I kind of like to start, into the details. I'm looking at what's going on, the dynamic between whoever the couple is and all of those people around them. And I am kind of grabbing little moments, little expressions. I feel like that anticipation, the buildup of the story, especially when we're doing film, I love to just kind of grab those little moments because it's just like any good film. Like you want to see a little bit of tension and buildup before that moment, that climax where they see each other for the first time, or the father sees the bride for the first time and he just like cries. I mean, I love that.
Do you ever get like, do you ever cry with them?
I do. When I cry a lot, the first dance usually.
Okay, yeah.
But the mother of the groom dance, that moment.
It's so emotional and so beautiful. Yeah,
because you don't realize like, oh my gosh, like my son, you see them, the evolution. Yeah. You see them as a man for the first time. It's so beautiful. I'm getting teary-eyed now.
Oh my goodness. Hey, we're crying at the Tipsy Guest today. It's so crazy. It is, and it sounds so cliche and so funny, but it's true. I mean, for me, we're in the photo booth,
Yes.
so we're like the fun spot of the wedding.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the time, for the speeches and the
Yes.
dances, we're out here at the photo booth, like also just like like looking at everyone, and I feel like I
Yeah.
think it's been a few times, and I get teary eyed as well
Yes.
as I'm just hanging out over here by the photo booth when I hear the speeches and the dances. It's just such a beautiful moment, and even though like. Yeah, we might not know the couple like personally, but we've gotten to know them a little bit throughout the process of like that we've been working with them.
Yeah.
So it's just such a good feeling to see them like enjoy that moment and get emotional, and I love getting involved with like all these like things. Like it's so pretty, it's so beautiful.
And it doesn't get old. I don't know, like it doesn't get old for me. I'm one of those that I'm like kind of like a history nerd. I love seeing like two families kind of come together and create a new family. I get into that storytelling of, and I think about like the generations in the future when they look back
And see,
when they see like mom and dad, or, dad and dad, mom and mom, like when they see who their parents were,
the beginning of their life together,
their life, when they see when you look back, and I mean, dirty little secret, my wedding, I hired somebody to film it, and I was like, I'm going to edit it.
Oh, okay.
And I can't edit it.
Oh,
because I go back and I have like interviews of people who are no longer here.
Oh, so it's very emotional. Very
I have,
personal, yeah.
but I have it all, and I'm just so like thankful to have it all. I have pictures, of people who are no longer here. I remember like all of the struggle, like my grandparents trying to just, I know how hard it was for them to just be there and to walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
And I will always remember those little moments, and so I think about that when I'm doing storytelling for my couples, like I want to find all those little moments,
I love that. And then I guess like, so, of course you film everything throughout the day. When it comes to the editing part,
Yeah.
like how hard is it to decide what makes it to the final cut? Like how is that something also that you discuss with them, or is it more up to you on your, like, are you the one that says like, okay, this is good, this is not, we can get rid of this? How does that work?
It is up to the discretion of the storyteller. And it's filmed in a way, we've had a lot of conversations pre-production, about moments that we want to make sure and capture and all of that. But we also have to kind of be open to how things unfold, and, that is also important. One of the things that really guides me is the music. I'm a musician also. And so like, I just, I get a feel for, who this couple was. I'm kind of paying attention to the music that they selected, like for their first dances and things. And a lot of that plays into the storytelling as well. So yeah. And that's like usually the hardest part, like just sitting down and listening to, soundtracks and things, in order to kind of create that.
That is such a cool process. I feel like, like, again, for us out here, that are looking from the other side, we just get to see the final product and we're like, oh my God, that is so cool. That looks beautiful. But I feel like it must be so hard to decide what makes it to the final, the
final edit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what doesn't, and that's the hardest thing, is to cut something out. But, you don't know it, you don't see it, but there's a lot of long hours. It's usually happening at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Where the breakthrough happens, and I'm like, okay, and then this, and then that, and then, okay, there it is, and I can see it. There's also a lot of chocolate involved.
Oh my goodness, I love that. So how long after the wedding do couples get their final product, their final video?
So the final video is usually between 4 to 6 weeks after the wedding. The actual photography, it has gotten a lot shorter for me. I'm usually delivering within 2 to 3 weeks.
But, oh wow, okay.
But I had a wedding on Sunday where it was just like it flowed so well. I've already delivered it.
Oh, wow. So just a few days after.
Yeah.
Wow. And is there, so when you get hired, do they normally hire you for both, or is it just one or the other?
It could be either. It could be, a lot of times it is just photography. Sometimes it's just film. And it just really depends on, how we connect, what the couple is looking for and what they see in my work. So,
do you have a preference? I know you mentioned, that it was like your first love and stuff like that. I'm assuming videography over photography, or is it like a 50-50?
I can't choose.
Okay.
And I work seamlessly through both mediums. But I cannot do both in the same day.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I'm focused on this. I'm doing this. So
yeah. Well, you want to make sure that you're delivering amazingness and focusing on one specific item of the event. I like that. What are your thoughts? I mean, now it's very popular out there, and of course, this is a tipsy guest, so we like a little bit of drama and controversy here. What are your thoughts on content creation? Because now, we see, of course, we have the videographers, but then now also we have content creators, that they get hired to just do in the moment, little snippets and videos and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that content creation is it's an art in itself. It's not the same as what a cinematic video is going to come through. My style is much more documentary. I am focused on words, and that's something that where I set myself apart from a lot of just highlight videos.
Yeah,
anybody can do just a highlight video. I think that's easy. What I'm doing is I'm actually composing a story. I'm using pieces from your toasts or letters that are written during the day. Sometimes I'll take aside the bride and because I'll notice, she's, writing her vows, and I'll say, hey, can you just beautiful. Voice them for me? And then that ends up in the final edit,
Oh my God. I bet you that's so
it's just
amazing to just go back and watch that.
Yeah. And it's just a little bit more depth to the story. And it also, I feel like it shouldn't be just viewed on a phone, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's the same as when you go to a theater. You are going to a theater to have an experience.
Yeah, for sure.
And to have a communal experience. You're usually at a theater with other people. You're all reacting. That energy kind of comes through. It's the same thing. When I'm putting together a film, it could be seen on social media, but I deliver it in a way that they can watch it on their smart TV.
Oh my God.
In the comfort of their home with some popcorn and some wine, and they can bring it out every year. And I have couples that, they email me we just watched our film again. We still love it. Yeah. They love to just watch it again and again. And some of them, so the way I deliver video is I do the cinematic film, but then I also deliver documentary edits.
Okay.
So they can see their entire first dance in full. They can see all of the toasts in full. They can see the entire ceremony, so that they can see that funny moment where the groomsman dropped the ring, and you can hear it, and you can hear everybody, react. You can't always put every piece of that into the final edit because people's attention spans don't stay with it. But they can go back and see that whole thing again, So.
I love that you split the little clips, if they want to specifically just go watch the first dance or the ceremony. Is that a standard with videography, or is that just do you think that's something that also is unique to you? Where
it is something that is unique in that I standardly offer that to my couples. I know that some other videographers are maybe upselling that.
Yeah.
Taking that. But I just kind of feel you hired me for a full day. I don't want to give you just 2 minutes or, just 5 minutes.
Yeah. And speaking of, the different upsells and things like that, without being specific or anything, but I guess, do you offer different packages, or is it just one fee and then it includes all those different things? Do you have things, add-ons and stuff like that?
I do have packages that kind of, for a shorter day, we're just doing a highlight. I can do that. That's no problem, because I need to be able to meet, different clients where they are.
Yeah.
And I am noticing, especially this year, that we are having clients that are being a little bit more creative about how they're making their dollars work for them. So, I have those options, for, a shorter day, a smaller edit, and they're not getting the full shebang.
Yeah. Okay.
But, then I have my full team, photography and video, for a full day, and they are getting, everything. They're getting the wedding film, they're getting, photography, they're getting albums, they're getting portrait sessions, like the whole thing.
Wow.
So, and there are couples that, they just want to feel taken care of. And by the time we've gotten through all of those products and services for them, we're like family.
I love that. And then after, once you deliver your edits and or photography, do you ever get I don't know, years later or months later or in the future, can they ever come back to you and ask for additional items or
Yes.
What are some of those items that they could potentially come back and ask for?
It could be anything from a USB,
Okay.
some people are still doing that, to, an album, a beautiful, thick album that tells the whole story of the day. I have couples that want wall art, that want canvases. I was delighted the other day. I saw a groomsman come back, and he ordered some prints from their wedding day from years ago, but I think it was for a Mother's Day gift. I was
okay. That's cute.
You never know.
That's pretty.
And I also think it's a good idea, you have certain sponsors or family members that were really important on the day to have those, gift prints to be able to give, you know. So
I've gotten stuff like that where people come back up after a wedding and they're like, hey, Marco, normally with the photo booth, we add the border, a little photo strip or stuff. And I've had times where they come back and they're like, hey, there's a really specific photo from the photo strip that I really like. Is there a way that I can get the full size just photo by itself? Because I want to use it either, I don't know, for a Christmas card or I've had Mother's Day or Father's Day or I had one specific, I always remember this one. I think I don't remember if it was the grandma or the grandpa. I guess they passed away. So they were this was our last photo with them. We really want the high resolution photo just by itself so we can print it and frame it and make it, bigger and stuff. So, those are little.
A lot of the times that's the number one thing that I get. Oh, grandma passed away and you took the last great photo of her, or you took a photo of her actually dancing, and being active, and that's what they want to remember. So I have definitely,
it's such a great feeling, that they come to you for things like that you're like, oh my God, my work is so good. It's so that they take us into considerations for situations like this, that moments that they're going to remember forever.
Yes.
With based on your work. So that's incredible. I love that.
And, that's sort of my little tick that I have is that I have probably, 13 years of weddings on hard drives in my cabinet.
That is so
So
crazy.
I've delivered, it's also in a cloud, but I also have that digital backup, and it is kind of crazy.
Is there? It definitely is. Is there a standard, I guess, time frame that when they sign that contract, or is there a standard time frame that you give them,
Yes.
after an X amount of time, you can't come back and ask for
No. They can always come back.
Okay.
They can always come back. I'll always have a way to give it to them.
I love that because I've seen some other vendors or other photographers, videographers, photo booth companies in general where they're like, you only have 30 days and then you you're after 30 days, we get them off the cloud and blah, blah, blah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just that person. I'm the same way with my own photos, and everything's kind of backed up to a cloud, but I could also, source a hard drive if I needed to.
Awesome.
So,
I mean, it sounds like you obviously care about your clients and it shows, I think that is, for our listeners out there, I feel like that's something that you should definitely take into consideration, when you hire your vendors, make sure that you really connect with them because, you're dealing with them for your wedding. But I feel like, if you really connect with them, I feel like it will make you feel so comfortable that you can ask for things that might not be as popular or that you might think that you can ask for. But
Right.
if you have those conversations with your vendors, you don't know what you don't know. So it's always good to ask. Are there any like random like questions that you get or like funny questions that you're like what? Like this is a first. Like can you think of any situation?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I've heard it all.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've seen it all. And sometimes I will not tell.
You don't kiss and tell. I love that. Oh my God, Sonia, thank you so much. I mean, this is great information for our listeners out there. Again, I feel like this is something that it's going to help someone out there, definitely, because I feel like the way that you talk about your business and the way you talk about the process of, working with you, I think, like people need to hear those stories. It's not just about hiring somebody to capture your wedding, but I guess it's about hiring that right person, the right vendor. And based on, this conversation, it sounds like it is a delight to work with you, honestly.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm so excited.
Me too. And can you tell our listeners, where can they find you? Social media, website? How can they get a hold of you? How can they see your work?
Sure. So Aria Productions is at ariaphotovideoessay.com. My TikTok is Aria Photo Video. My Facebook is Aria Photo Video Essay, and you can find me on Instagram at Sonia Aria Productions.
Thank you so much, Sonia. And we'll make sure to list all of her social media and her website on the show notes or the blog for this episode. So make sure you definitely check it out. And of course, if you want to see her work, honestly, her TikTok is always on fire. I love watching your TikToks or your Instagram reels.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, this is it for today. Thank you, Sonia. Again, I'm sure we can do this all over again at some point. I feel like there's just so much. I know today we focus mainly on video, but I feel like we can definitely also talk about your photography and honestly, all the work that you do for all the organizations in town. That's a whole other topic that we can discuss at some point. But yeah, make sure you guys stick around. Remember, new episodes every Tuesday. Go tell your BFFs. Go tell, there's a specific vendor that you want us to have here on the podcast. Make sure you send me a DM, send me an email, text me, whatever you want. We're here for you. And as I said, every Tuesday, new episodes. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Tipsy Guest podcast. If you know someone who could benefit from these tips, spread the love and share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Next round's on us. Same time, same place. Cheers! This podcast is brought to you by MVP Photo Booth, the #1 photo booth rental company in San Antonio, Austin, and Central Texas.